In today's episode of HR Visionaries, we talk to Marie. We speak about how Marie has implemented successful HR transformation processes in very many companies. Stay tuned. Welcome to HR Visionaries, the show where we discover the truth behind contemporary HR. I'm your host, Benjamin. Join me as I unfold today's talent ecosystem with HR innovators from around the globe. Welcome to the latest episode of HR Visionaries. I'm very much looking forward to my guest today, Marie. It's great to have you on.
Hello, Benjamin. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Marie, can you tell us a bit about yourself? Who are you?
Yes, my name is Mary Kanellopulos. I'm an original Berliner, and I'm leading in a co-leadership concept, Done Berlin. And Done Berlin is a boutique HR consultancy. We're on the market over 10 years now. We established really big players on the market, for instance, N26, Airbnb, and we kind of all in one solution when it comes to scaling startups in a successful and sustainable way. So we are hiring people, we are developing people, we are retaining people, and we also take care, of policies, visa, anything that is related to people. And I'm super excited, to share my knowledge, my experience, since I do believe that HR is more than just administration.
It very much is indeed. The name is actually quite cool. So why is it Done Berlin?
Yes, this is a question that we hear from a lot of clients. We met as a strong woman. So Dan Berlin is female founded and female led. And we met a strong woman that wanted to create something new and wanted to get things done. So consider it done is simply our motto. And we are rolling up our sleeves and we say yes to everything. We say yes to every opportunity, to every problem, so we can find a solution. However, we also give red flags when we think we are stuck, when we think we have to go another way, or something is coming up. So we are really good in forecasting crisis, since we build up so many multiple clients in several industries. And I think especially forecasting crisis is such a super skill for not only founders, also for the people and culture teams.
Okay, that is an amazing story indeed. Consider it done. So that's something, most leaders and most team leads love to hear.
Yeah, definitely. I think since we are jumping into those companies as an interim person, we are running faster because we also have to run faster than the employees, right? We have, of course, more insights due to the wide range of projects. And it's super important to share and to never lower our bar, because as an entrepreneur or as a managing director, I can tell that consulting is people business. Either you trust this person, you like this person or not, right? So it's really about humanity. It's about chemistry. And I do believe in the human power, especially in those times of AI too.
Well, definitely we'll talk about this. I was wondering, how long have you been in the HR and the people space?
Yeah, since 2011, I've worked first in the startup and HR scene. Before that, I was working for fashion. I also had already my startup experience, but since 2011, I am deep into HR, deep into culture, deep into building up structures and processes. And my dad, I think he would be happy that I name him here. He always said, Marie, you are an HR person because you show so much empathy and you have a feeling for different cultures, different personalities. And I was always resistant. I said, Dad, HR people are people that checking the fingers, looking at the numbers, looking at the policy, and this is it. It's administration. I'm too creative for administration. But he was right in the end, right? Because people and culture is not administration. I mean, administration is not sexy. However, it's super important to have the baseline, and with the good administration, you are able to measure other things. You are able to create different things that really, really matter. So I feel home, I feel safe, and I feel really valued in this position I am. So I'm really appreciating that.
Well, it's actually quite a fun story that your dad already came up with the idea. Okay, you're right in the HR space, and well, it turns out to be also it turns out to be the case that he's also very good in forecasting.
Yeah, he's also an entrepreneur himself, so definitely good in forecasting.
So you just mentioned, okay, you have worked with quite a number of very prominent startups that turn into scale-ups, that turn into large companies. How did you build up the trust with those organizations, given for them the people function is obviously one of the key functions of a company?
So first of all, it's really chemistry. You can build trust if you know each other, and if you know each other, you have to have the same values. Otherwise, there is no win-win situation. So first of all, when we get to know each other, we talk about what really matters, what is important, how do they work, how do they communicate, why do they see the focus? So it's all about the why, and then we are going further into the next steps. And we are really spoiled, I have to say. Of course, we have to do sales at some point. However, over 90% of our clients are coming back to us, and this is due to reputation. And it brings me back to the point I mentioned that consulting is people business. When I'm losing a client that is not satisfied, I'm losing 10 more. And this is something I've learned when I worked in the fashion industry. Like, don't lose a customer, because if you lose one, you lose further people. And this is a damage you cannot really improve or rebuild. I mean, of course, you can rebuild everything, but it really takes a lot of effort. So my personal goal is always to, if you have to say goodbye to a person, do it in a good manner, because you always see yourself twice with this person. And this is what my grandma always taught me, that it's about karma. It's about seeing them twice. And I have to say, we created with Dan Berlin a huge impact, because we're working towards companies and founders, but also towards candidates, right? Like, they are super happy when they get, for instance, job opportunities or advisories. And I'm so happy. I can tell one story. 2 years ago, I met a Syrian person, and I was able to manage the visa. I brought this IT person to Munich, and we still got in contact. We still, when I went on my first day of vacation, he invited me for a Syrian typical dinner in order to say thank you. Thank you for bringing my family to Germany. And this was something it was a purpose behind my action, you know? So yeah, it's a different mixture, and trust is the most important. Yeah.
Well, it's a lovely story indeed. You mentioned values before, and I was wondering, what are the key values for you personally and for your organization?
For my organization, we have 4 values: we share, we care, we inspire, and we challenge. And this, I would say, mainly describes how we are working. So we share, you can say that all the values, the core values, are shared internally, but also externally. So we share, it's really about, like, we are not owning our own knowledge, and we would like to give our knowledge back to the team. So the team is stronger towards the client. The client feels more educated, right? We care, it's simply your dedication, your spirit, your passion. And I do believe, if you are passionate in what you are doing, you're simply the best. Like, no one can compete with fun. And there's so many studies about, if you are a surfer, the surfer that have fun are the best in their class. We challenge is really that we are not accepting the status quo. I hate when people think, oh, the things what I've done the past years are correct, and we will stick to that plan, right? I mean, Benjamin, we just talked about the German thinking of how to react towards changes, and be flexible and be agile, and think that every problem might be a chance to also overcome that. And then we inspire it simply that we give our energy also towards the other, to the opposite, and that we, think of different ways, that we're really creative. And I think this is my private part of really being creative and bringing this value towards the business.
I would love to talk about the positivity in transformation, or the positivity that comes with change, or the change that comes with positivity, perhaps. It's not necessarily in our nature as humans to a few thousand years ago, it was probably not considered the very best idea to leave the cave and to look for a better cave to stay, but you only moved when there was necessity. How do you communicate the positivity that comes with change?
It's really work, groundwork, I would say. And it starts with yourself. It always starts with yourself, that you have like a mindset of taking calculated risk, not only react when there is a reason to react or to change. Maybe also think, okay, I have a mindset of seeing the opportunities, not the risk, and take calculated risk. And I don't know whether you hear that saying. It's kind of like, if you are focusing on problems, you only have more problems. If you are focusing on chances, you have more opportunities. Or if you are focusing on solutions, you have more opportunities, right? So this is my saying, that you always focus on the positive goal, and then see what can I do to reach that, instead of, oh my God, I have this problem, I don't know, right? So you have to start with yourself about my energy and what is the focus point to invest my energy, and then it comes along with. So transformation, I have a lot of experience with transformation, but you really need to be resilient. And you have to have a lot of patience, because you have to tell also employees 3 or 4 times to tell, to say the same thing, in order that they can understand, and then they can deepen it and realize what you're saying. So when we had this pandemic some years ago, lucky us, I said over communicate at its best to the max, that your people get your point. It's not only once, especially when you work remote. You have to tell this many, many times. I'm a working mom. I know that I can also use my mommy skills in the business, because it is what it is. Yeah.
How does your job actually look like? So when you said, okay, well, consider it done, what may I consider as done?
Yeah. When you would like to change something, maybe, I mean, it's January, right, Benjamin? So we can also talk about New Year's resolution. If you have the thing in private, you would like to exchange a habit. If you would like to reach something in your career or privately, no matter what, you have to work on something that is trackable. So set up milestones. Little milestones, please, because when I also quote my grandma, bake little breaths instead of a big, big one. So have realistic goals. And whenever you need something to be tracked, you need to give numbers behind. So give yourself, give the project, give your team squad, or whatever you would like to achieve, KPIs, in order to really check, okay, where we are standing in this situation. And then I'm always reflecting. So I'm not reflecting once a year. I'm reflecting myself, to be really honest, every year. Every day. Every day I'm reflecting myself, because as a working mom, I really want to make sure that I don't set the wrong priorities. And when people ask me, Marie, how can you handle all of this? I can tell you really honestly, I'm not. Because when I'm good in this project, but when I'm good in this project, I might lose the time with my husband, or I might not be able to pick up my kids from school, right? So it's always about balancing. And with the right balance, there comes continuous reflection. And this, I would say, also goes to any business. So set yourself milestones, track it, please, with numbers, and then always reflect not only the end result, but also the way towards it.
So what are the situations when you work with companies, when companies ask for your advice for your consultancy?
Can you explain me again the question?
Okay, right. So I was wondering.
Yeah, since we are a Schweizer Taschenmesser in HR, people and culture, I got the weirdest situations. We are coming in, for instance, for downsizing, because also this you can do in a sustainable way. And sorry, even when it's not the best product or project I'm proud of, you can do it in a correct way. We are coming in when it comes to hiring, to reorganizationing all the org chart, the people combination in the founders team or the teams. One classic situations are, and I remember that the venture capital of Gorillas called me on a Friday afternoon. Hi Marie, I need 30 of your people joining on Monday the office because we are building up Gorillas. And we have this and this and this problem with payroll here, with scheduling here, with hiring here. So, this could be a situation, or we do have a classic project that the company has scaled in a really fast way, but the people didn't grow with the company. So we have to train the leaders. We have to set up principles, organizational principles, leadership principles, and sometimes also, separation of leaders, or simply hiring, or even with the visa thingy, like visa, to get a visa is sometimes really hard. But since we are experts, the authorities also know us. Sometimes it's easier to get this solved too.
Since there's a lot of creativity involved in your job, I was wondering, what is your perspective on the revolution that now is very much at our doorstep when it comes to AI being part of the HR department, and AI workers joining the workforce?
AI is my favorite intern. And I also think that this is the best scenario, what you can say, that AI is supportive, AI is immense effective, but it will never replace the human side of work. Of course, there are some parts, right, that can be replaced, but then you can also here concentrate not on the problem, you concentrate on the chance. So when we tell about the AI trends, when we brainstorm, also I see a lot of new job roles coming with this new trend. It doesn't exclude that we also not creating other new job roles. So this is something I'm telling, especially the people and culture teams. Sometimes I see when we implement tools that there is a resistance. Why you are now? So I don't need to do this because this happens automatically. We get rid of any Excel in my company. What am I supposed to do here? And I tell them, look, AI is there to give you some space for working more strategically. And we requested this for so many decades. We wanted to have more time, especially HR people are like, I don't have time for this, for that, right? And then after this complaints, they're coming in with this great tendency of working digital and with automatically and generative AI. And then they're like, oh my God, I'm not sure. I'm really, I'm having fear that I'm losing my job. And I would love that we are changing this mindset. I would love that we see this opportunity and that we kind of accept it. We accept also the internet, where we were always like, oh my God, what's now going on? Everyone is losing their job. The whole economy will change. Simply not, right? It will all coming to the good for us.
Why do you think is there some reluctance in accepting that, well, this is the new world? And as you said, it liberates us from these very important, however, very repetitive and also kind of boring tasks, and allows us to focus on much more interesting things and developing the organization rather than like copying stuff from one sheet to the other.
I think a lot of in life is about timing. I do believe that it's human that we first of all are critical in order to accept something. So in my thinking, it's like, okay, it's kind of like in startup scene, a product market fit. And sometimes you have the right product, but the market is not ready yet. And I do believe that this is the first natural reaction, and then maybe I'm also thinking too positive. But it's a mixture of having the fear, it's unknown, it's something new. So also in our German culture, I would say they love to stick to the tradition, love to stick to the known stuff. And then, of course, sometimes those people, and when I look at my project, sometimes they don't have internal perspective within a company. They need guidance. They need also, a sparring partner. And I'm always saying, get yourself a mentor, no matter how senior you are, even founders, even the highest mentors in my world, they all have to have a sparring partner. And this is really, really important. And I do believe that the reality when we are looking at AI is not ready yet. Benjamin, I still have a problem with digitalization. And if you're not digitalized, if you're not implementing a tool, you're not automizing things. And if you're not automizing, you cannot even implement AI. So like people sometimes, clients coming to me and say, Marie, I would love to have AI, but they still not digitalized. So it's the same with having the outstanding modern people and culture, but you don't have administration, right? The groundwork needs to be done. And we are still in Germany, I think we still are occupied with the groundwork.
It's a very interesting point you raised there. So you're occupied with the groundwork, and of course you must not jump too far. Otherwise you lose kind of everyone. I was wondering, so you have been engaged in implementing change, not necessarily only software, but perhaps we can focus on the software part a bit, and lifting up organizations through that for quite some time. So I was wondering, so how do you approach this step by step? So as you said, so there are some people probably in the organization that are very critical. There may be some other people who are very where there's a lot of euphoria, perhaps. How do you approach this step by step?
First of all, it's all about the why. So you have to explain and over communicate the reason and the purpose why we would like to challenge the process A and B, or we would like to establish an AI department. Also, I saw this. So you really have to get yourself as a startup founder a vision and a mission to really take the people, inspire your team, and bring them on board, right? So when you tell them, here's the why, we do have this problem, we see the market evolving to this status quo, we should do or we should become in the near future ABC. And then I would like to ask some key positions. How would you like, or do you have ideas? So brainstorm in a kind of round. Then pick yourself expert. And this is in a transformation or AI or whatever we are doing in business. For me, the key, have key responsibilities, have an owner. My mentor used to say, if you don't have an owner, you are not able to scream at some person when something is not going right or wrong, right? So in both cases. And this is exactly the same. You have to have someone who is preparing the meeting, who is summarizing the meeting, who is doing follow-ups on some specific projects. And when you have a lot of people involved, it's not healthy. In the end of the day, one person decides. The other people can, of course, share in a really psychology safety environment, but there's one person who decides. And then what we are doing when we are having a transformation project, we are doing pilot phases. So there is always a pilot. And it can be, for instance, let's revolutionize HR department. Our learning and development tool might be interesting for all the other departments, but we will first start with people and culture, and then we are expanding it. So really here, bake little breads and then expand it to the others. And always adjust accordingly. When you see the hiccups in the department, probably the same hiccups will also be created to others. So a step-by-step guide would be this, and also have diverse teams, right? When I talk about involve key positions, it's not only about the former the employees from day one. It can be founding employees, it can be senior, junior, new employees. So the more creative and diverse around, the better the innovation.
How do you deal with concerns? So let's assume you're helicoptered in. So the story you mentioned before is quite funny. So we need 30 of your people on Monday. So it was probably a busy weekend for you then.
Yeah.
So when you're helicoptered in a situation when you let's say you implement you help a company implementing some new technology in the HR space. And well, how do you first find out that there are some people who are reluctant and there are concerns? How do you find that out, and how to deal with those?
Mm. So I'm an advocate of a thought leader, like thought leadership, modern leadership, especially during all those crises we had in the last past years. You have multiple heads as a leader, and a good leader is listening. A good leader is asking questions. A good leader is speaking less than the others. So I would like to first talk to the diverse team, right? It's not only one perspective, that maybe the founding employee is really hesitant because of the history, right? We are not talking about history, we're talking about the future. So combine all those insights, listen, ask the right question, moderate, and then try to communicate all those things in the more diplomatic way. So what I'm doing, for instance, I tell the people, please open up, please tell me. Don't be afraid of any consequences, because of course I will share your opinion, but I will not share it that you have said it. I will share it in a cumulated way, so we can all learn from each other. And I do believe that measurements from the above, from the management, downwards, vice versa, are super important, that we really kind of create a compromised reality. Because when I go to a startup, I ask the founders, they will tell me a complete different story as the employees, right? So alone from my private personality, I'm really always in the middle. And I always try to find the middle, because here the truth lies.
Indeed. And well, dealing with concerns, and in particular in a very unknown environment, even when you're working with young companies, well, people are used to change, but well, implement or change being effective for you personally is still quite a big thing.
Definitely. Yeah, organizations have to learn how to make failures. And I tell my team, if you do a failure and you learn out of it, that was not a failure. If you do a failure many times, then we have a problem, right? So it's really about learning or living a failure culture. And this is, psychology safety. Like, what do really high performing teams have in common? It's all about this failure culture. It's about sharing. I had one employee, and she was sick, and she was calling me and said, Marie, to be honest, I'm not sick. I'm calling myself sick because I broke up with my boyfriend. I don't know what to do the next time. And for me, it built so much trust, because wow, I appreciate this information. Of course, she's not able to work, and in my word, work is really important, but it's not everything, right? The life, it's about quality time, about a calm mindset, a fit body, and a house full of love. This is for me my priorities. However, when you really feel safe and you feel understood and you have this trust, no one will ever beat your team spirit. And this is something, it's kind of a risk too for organizations, right? But if you work closely with the middle management and with the management, you're able to create something completely new.
Sorry, I have one last question for you, which is, since you have worked with so many people in the past, either directly or dealing with client situations, and you interviewed so many people, what are the questions that tell you most about a person?
The questions towards candidates in interviews or towards clients?
Towards candidates, indeed.
Towards candidates, first, it's about value-based hiring. I'm a big fan of it because you can train any technical skill, Fachkenntnisse, like skills are super trainable, but the work ethic, it's not. So in my word, it's simply about really personalized, focused hiring. I'm asking about their priorities, their values, what's really important to them, how do they imagine their ideal work day, what passion would they love to work on it, right? So again, here bringing back to my point, when you're passionate about something, you are unbeatable. So really understand this person behind. And also with AI, you can train, right? I think it's really crazy at the moment. If you work 1 year on one topic, you are already an expert because we do have those research measurements, right? So it's all about personality. And everyone would love to work with nice people, especially when they have to spend so much time in their lives at work.
Well, yeah, it's indeed so important to work with people you like to work with, since, well, when there's a bit of a crisis, that's things so much easier than people hard to work with.
Definitely. Good point.
Marie, thank you so much for your time. It was great hearing your perspective. Really enjoyed our conversation. Thanks a lot.
Me too. Thank you and have a great day.
Same to you, and thanks for listening in, and hear you next time.